Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Links Golf Club podcast. If you haven't been here before, this is one of our first episodes. We're really excited to get into all of the membership benefits, cool things that Links Golf Club is doing, buying golf courses, playing private clubs, and meeting up with our fellow members at awesome events. Today, we're going to dive into the stack system a little bit more, as well as fill you in on some of the latest things that are going on with Links Golf Club. Again, I'm Cooper. Also with me, we've got
Gregory Hill, head of product at Links Golf Club.
And Chris Bruce. Maybe I'll give a little more about what's been going on. We've had a lot going on in Links the past week or two and in the weeks coming up. But just to mention it quickly, we've got a whole series of member events coming up across the country. 5-iron location would be hitting the simulator, getting some swings in, free drinks, all that stuff. It's cities across the country. We dropped 2 new bags in the proshop.links.golf, which we can get for Links logoed, Spay Bay logoed, also our Spay Bay member logo for all of our Spay Bay members out there. So we've got a lot going on there as well. And then, of course, we always have a ton of great benefits for our members. And at this point, it's over 70 brands that all of our members get access to, discounts, exclusives, and as well as access to a bunch of private courses across the country. But today we're going to be talking about one of those benefits in particular. We talked last week. We just launched our partnership with the Stack system, and all of our members get 10% off on anything on the Stack website. You can access that benefit through our member portal. We call it the clubhouse.links.golf. So we went a little bit over that last week. This week, we're gearing up our training with the Stack system ourselves. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. And yeah, I think Gregory's going to take us through that.
Yeah, so I think the three of us, the first step is recognizing that we have a problem and we want to get faster. And that, as we talked about last week, that's not just driver. I think that's where always the focus of speed is the driver, so you can hit it further. We got a ball change coming up in 2 years, and so speed is only going to matter even more in our games. But overall, I think each of us wants to swing a little bit more freely, commit to shots, not have to overswing in order for us to get the most out of really any club. And the Stack system itself is designed to be a speed training platform. There's an app, there's a device. And what we did this week is the three of us all did the baseline, which took you through a session of warm up that we'll talk about, as well as the actual swings with the Stack device. And that then produced baseline numbers for each of us. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing a couple of these training sessions per week. And the goal is obviously for all of us to improve over our baseline. I think we have a good natured competition going between the three of us to see who can gain the most proportional speed based on that baseline. And I'm really excited to see what it does. And I think heading into this, we're definitely learning along with you because none of us have used this before. There is some good content out that sort of talks about the Stack system, but I think we're wandering into this a little bit blind and just fully trusting Stack system for this next step of our speed journey. So super excited about that. So let's talk about it. So we jumped in, we all did the baselines this week. Cooper, walk me through what you were expecting going in. Were you worried about things? What were you excited about? Just before you even started, what are some of the things that were going through your head?
I had a bit of an expectation of what my speed would look like. I think people say that I look like I swing really hard when I'm out on the course. I think that's something that I do, and I expected my numbers to be, high. I didn't expect the baseline to require a driver, so keep that in mind if you're going out there and set up. Don't just bring your stacks system. I had no room in my apartment to swing, so I went to the gym, opened the app, got started, and was, "Oh, no, I have to go get my driver," and had to walk back and get it. So, that was something I wasn't expecting, but the first few swings, I think 10 of 10 swings are with the driver, and seeing those numbers pop up on the radar, was really interesting, and I followed the instructions, got warmed up, and it says that you should use high intent with your swing, like, the most intentional, strongest swing that you would use in competition. They never say swing fast or swing hard,
Mhm.
which I think is really good because I could swing out of my shoes, but it's a balanced, strong swing. Um, And yeah, my numbers came in a little lower than where I was expecting.
Mhm.
A couple. You used the last 5, and I think that was, you know, interesting to finally get a recording. I haven't been in the simulator as frequently as I know you have, Greg, so I haven't seen my swing speed in a minute, and I've been tweaking some things. So I'm
Mhm.
interested to see, how that baseline improves after going into the next sessions. What do you guys think?
I think there's so much ego wrapped up in speed. So
Yes.
even hearing you say I was a little bit and I was too, right? The most worried I was when the three of us were going to share a screenshot of these baselines and now publish this on the internet for everyone to see and openly mock us is scary. But I think that's part of it. Because again, like we're wanting to become better golfers, right? We have golf goals. We don't like in a vacuum just have speed goals because we're not trying to be long distance drivers, but we want to be able to maximize the athletic talent that we have and bring that to bear on a golf course. So
Right.
I feel you on that. It's just I was pretty nervous and there's so much ego wrapped up into it. But I think the same thing that all of us use Arcos, the reality and the curiosity is so much more important than having a high number, right? If you honestly want to become a better golfer, this baseline gave us the pill of where we are right now. And now the focus needs to be on getting better. So I that was a similar thought that I had going in. But Chris, you set up early in the morning? You were grinding. It wasn't even light out yet. You just game improvement is such a focus for you. Going into it, what were your thoughts, fears, excitement?
Yeah, I've been excited about it all week. I feel like I was chomping at the bit, like waiting for it to get delivered, monitoring the tracking
Hmm.
number. Then I had to wait a couple of days just to get it in their competition. And so I had to wait, which was actually tough. I was ready to go. Now that I've done the baseline session, I have to wait 3 days to do the next one. I wish I could like get after it and put some work in. But that was my mindset going in. I was just excited to get going. And then I don't know that I totally knew what to expect. Also did not realize I had to bring the gamer driver. So I had to run to the garage for that. But yeah, I thought it was good. We'll go through the results. I definitely feel like I've seen some interesting or kind of counterintuitive things already, which is interesting in and of itself. And I'm sure as we progress through the programs, learn more about all of that, improve weaknesses and all that as well. But yeah, it was fun. I think I maybe had the inverse of what you were talking about, Cooper, where like I bought a radar a while ago, maybe 6 months ago or something. Only used it a couple times in the backyard, but I was just testing it out. And today when I was flying, it was actually faster. It was faster than I expected on the driver, which was counterintuitive, but interesting. I think maybe just by virtue of playing a lot this year and exercising and so on, just naturally progressed a little bit. But then saw a flip in some of the other numbers when I got over to the stack stuff, and the other numbers were less than I expected. But yeah, mostly just excitement. Like, I was excited to get this done. It was fun going through it, and I'm excited to see how it progresses over the next few weeks. We're getting into some of the programs.
For sure. Yeah, I think going in for me, I was most curious just how it worked. I use a lot of technology. I love new things and I love playing with them and seeing it. My expectations are so low with most new things, especially in the golf industry, that I was curious to see how easy it was to use. And honestly, like the setup was super easy. Connecting my phone, I bought the radar, so Bluetooth connection right to the radar. It auto populated all the swing speed stuff. The videos were super helpful. We'll talk about the structure of a lesson, but it really did walk you through it in a way that almost felt like having someone there, right? The videos from Sasha were super intentional and well thought out. And then you're just hopping into it and you're getting warm through the warm up. There's a about 15-minute guided warm up with some sort of mobility, some stretching, all very active and dynamic movements. And before Chris started this morning, we were talking yesterday and he was like, waking up early, I don't know how warm I'm going to be. And I was like, it's probably a better warm up than you've ever done playing around a golf. Do you agree with
Yeah,
that? Just as far as feeling ready?
100% is 10 out of 10 would recommend. Should
Mhm.
definitely do that before my round. But I think it's probably better than any warm up I've ever done before a golf round. I don't know what that says about my warm up routine, but definitely solid for the baseline and for the workouts we'll be doing.
Says mine is non-existent. I just step up and start hitting wedges. But I was definitely sweating by the end of it. I had to I recorded the whole thing, which will show some clips of each of our experiences as we're going here. And there's a point that I was watching it the other night and I laughed because you don't see a towel. And I was like fast forwarding and then like a towel appears because I'm just dripping sweat. But I definitely felt ready. And so at the end of that warm up, and it's a requirement to do that because you are now going to put your body through a tremendous amount of torque that, at least speaking as an almost 40-year-old, would pull something or hurt something. So I felt really confident. And you mentioned, Cooper, about the intent. Feeling warm allows you to have that intent, right? Because there's nothing holding me back. I don't feel tight. I feel like I'm ready to go. And then for the baseline session, which we all did, it moves you through a series of, and again, the app does a really good job of this, guiding you through different swings. So you start with 10 driver swings. The app then takes the last 5 and uses those in the calculations, and we'll share all these calculations in a second. Then you go through 5 swings with 195 grams on the stack tool. So there's a little thing on the end of it. You unscrew it, and then there's these almost look like washer weights that you put those washers on. Each of them is very clearly labeled, and then it tells you you need to put this one on it, and that equals 195. Then you do 5 swings with that, 5 swings with 280, so it actually goes up in weight. Then back down to 145 grams for 5 swings, back down to 95 grams with 5 swings. And then one of my biggest surprises, I had no idea to expect this. You then do 5 trail swings with no weight on the stack, and then you do 5 lead arm swings. So one armed with the same intent as your 2 arm swings. And that was pretty interesting. And we're going to talk about our results a little bit. And I was very surprised. And I think that will, I assume, factor into some of the things that I need to work on as we're doing the training, as you're watching some of the videos, of getting better at some of these disparities that we're seeing. And you'll notice as we stack all of us up, pun intended, there's like certain areas in which we're seem to be excelling, and certain areas where there's clear deficits that we need to work on. So as far as what you actually did, how did you leave the session before we jump into the results for each of us? How did you leave the session feeling? How are you feeling now going into the next one? Just walk me through where you feel like you are so early into this journey with stacks.
Yeah, I think walking out, I was like, that was cool. I have really good expectations for where, the foundation, which is the program that is recommended to me, I think for you guys as well, we'll get into that,
Mhm.
where it's going to take me, right? Like the data, I think collection for the baseline was good. And I'm, was really sweating a little bit. It was a workout, but I felt like this is going to open up a new phase rather than just doing traditional strength training, compound lifts, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Actually having, especially at the 195 and 280 swing weights,
Mhm.
like how that's going to impact my ability to bring a club through a ball,
Mhm.
or if I'm at a thick, rough lie, or Chris and I just played Bethpage, I'm in some fescue and I need to get the club through. I feel like it's going to make a big difference, not just in my driver swing and my confidence at that level,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, very similar. It was definitely a good workout and had started going right to just add some surprising things in my results, figure out like, okay, I need to do this, need to do that, or whatever else. But definitely a better sense of what's going on than before. I had with the baseline session, but yeah, still excited. Now I'm just excited to get going on the programs because I have a good sense of, okay, this is where I'm at. Gotten a different feel for the different types of swings, the weighted and the lightweight and all that stuff. We'll get into this, but I had a really weird or interesting disparity between trail arm and lead arm and some other stuff. So immediately had a sense of, oh, okay, this is what I need to work on, or where we're going to compare our numbers, but where I'm strong and weak and where I can focus, or some clues as to what I might be able to do to get a little more speed, which is good. As I was going into it, hoping for. But yeah, overall, just excited to keep going with it and get some of the quote unquote real workouts in.
Yeah, it's a good first experience because I think all of us left excited to do the next one, right? And so much of exercise and training, it's not always fun, right? It's hard. And the only way to push your body to improvement is by breaking it down, right? Cooper, you mentioned weightlifting. Like, I'm excited to have this kind of more comprehensive view of specifically how I apply strength and speed and mobility towards the golf swing, right? And that's so much of sort of the training that we do and everything else. Now we're specifically using a golf swing with all this biomechanic sort of hacking that they've done at Stacks and doing that like with an actual swing, which I'm really excited about. It's different than med balls. It's different than squatting, to your point. I'm going to pull up my results here first just to create a safe space for all of us here and give you all a chance to find yours. So ultimately, this is the app itself, and this is what you are shown at the end of the baseline session. And so there's some key metrics here, and we're going to show all of these sort of side by side. Spoiler alert, both Coop and Chris are faster than I am. The stack speed itself, and I will disclose it, I don't really know how this stuff is calculated. I haven't really looked at the math on this, but I'm just trusting the process at this point. The stack speed for me was 90 miles per hour. I believe that is just based off swinging the stack device itself. E speed, which is a measurement that they create based on, I think, all of the swings, was 100. That gives a distance potential, which they highlight here is optimal environmental conditions, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 2,000 feet of at sea level. My distance potential was 276. I felt that they asked you at the end to kind of rate how you felt today and then also what your energy was like during the workout, or I think even after, like how hard was the workout. I felt pretty good. I did work out earlier that morning. That's always a blessing and a curse, as I both felt a little bit more dialed, but also a little bit more tired, but I felt pretty good. The workout itself lasted 8 minutes and 55 seconds. I don't think that counted the warm up. I think the warm up was another 15 minutes on top of that. But I think all in, beginning to end, it was 30 max. And that was also me filming some of it, trying to figure out how it works and everything else. My rest between reps was 6 seconds. And then my rest between sets was 55. You'll notice that mine, I think one thing that I was looking at Chris's is different because with the radar, it just automatically syncs your swing speed from the radar to your phone. You will have more rest if you're having to either speak that into the phone itself or go in and tap it in. So I was able to move faster because of the Bluetooth connection. And then as far as you can see the results here at each of the different ones, I won't go through all of them. I think my fastest driver swing was 109, pretty consistent with where I've been recently. I've slowed down a lot, and I think that I lost it. Like I just lost the ability now to swing really fast if I want to, because I've been trying so hard to be more accurate on the golf course. So I'm excited to hopefully be able to do both of those things. But 109 was the fastest that I could do. And then I also, a couple things that I noticed, and y'all can, if anything interests you about these numbers, feel free to call them out as well. There's a huge disparity between my trail and lead arm on the single arm swings. It was 106 for the lead arm, and it was only 83 for the trail arm. I don't know what that means. I'm going to watch some of these videos, and I'm sure part of these sessions are going to tease that out. But that was pretty interesting to me. I would have actually expected that I would have been faster on my trail arm because I'm right-handed, and that's where I do most of my stuff. But I also pretty much overall, and we'll see when we stack them all up, I was slower than y'all at every single one of these categories, which was definitely a gut punch, but it also hopefully like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'll be able to catch up here a little bit. Cooper, your results or anything that stands out from this, feel free to pull up and share your screen and walk us through what you saw.
One thing that jumped out immediately is the rep and set rest. I feel like you didn't take as much rest time between sets and reps, and your workout was shorter, more compressed, which may have been, a contributing factor.
Was that intentional for you, or is that because of having to put it into the phone?
The app actually told me to take like
Rest.
200 seconds of rest between some of these, and I cut a few of those short. I was like, I looked at my heart rate on my watch, and I'm like, I'm at 80 beats per minute. I can start swinging again.
I totally blew by that. I didn't realize that was the case, so I'm glad that I know that now.
Yeah, I don't like to, when I'm doing any type of workout, jump into another set when I'm above 100, 110 beats per minute.
Mhm.
So seeing that I was below 90, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I thought I was cutting it short, but seeing yours, I don't know if that may have contributed to like a decline in some of those. You started out with a fast one, and by the end of the set, you had some lower numbers. I'm
Good
not a
point.
scientist here, but just guessing. I will say I'm coming off of having COVID and a long day, so my energy and health levels I ranked a little bit lower. I feel like I'm a little more out of shape. Haven't been in the gym as much. But I feel like my driver speeds coming off, I was swinging as fast as I normally do, right? It wasn't necessarily, I just don't feel as well today. Yeah, the numbers are really interesting to see, and I'm curious about what the exercise in the foundation will look like relative to these baseline sessions where it's just 5 reps or 4 reps for testing how it feels. I really one thing I do all the time is just take my driver, choke up, and do a lead arm swing,
Mhm.
right? Just so that I can force myself to use my core and my big muscles and not my arms to drag that arm through the path. So I really enjoyed that lead arm uh, kind of exercise. The rest of it seemed pretty straightforward. A couple times I hit the ground with the club head, and I don't know where the radar takes the reading. I think that may have been a little slower. I tend to go for contact, so keeping my head to keeping it in mind to swing and not make contact with the ground. I'm not trying to hit a ball here.
Mhm.
I think is an
That was
important one
hard
as
to get
well.
used to, honestly. There was a little bit jarring.
I was like worried about hitting the
Mhm.
ground after I scraped it a couple times, especially with the heavier weight, right? I think that 87 there and my 280G, I hit the ground because it's just I have way less control with that much weight on the end of the shaft. So being aware of that, I think, is a good note. But yeah, the distance potential, and just curious to see how that plays out at 283, right? So I know I've hit a ball further than 283 recently. So it's like, what does that exactly mean? Is that just with these speeds and how is that calculated? So yeah, overall, pleased with the app and the results.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, Chris, you wanna pull yours up here and join the transparency party on
Yeah, why not?
looking into your soul?
Why not? Uh,
Yeah, tell us your impressions of your numbers.
yeah, I mean, in many ways, they were similar, I think, to what you both described. E-speed around the same range, 101, and driver speeds, I think, right in between you two, 104. I did have the last driver swing was 113, and oh, need some more of that. But I'm guessing it was a errant reading, but who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I think my biggest takeaways, and interestingly, like the exact opposite of you guys, was between the trail arm, lead arm split. I had the exact opposite. And so my lead
Mhm.
arm was either way weaker, way less coordinated at swinging fast, whereas my trail arm felt much better. And you can see the first swings on the lead arm are like in the 70s. Whoa, what is going on here? And also just felt very
Mhm.
uncomfortable. I actually ramped up a lot after that. So I wonder if it's just me getting used to it because
Sure.
you said you do the practice swings where I like never do that. Part of it's maybe just getting used to it, getting up the learning curve or whatever versus a weakness thing. I don't know. Hopefully we'll like explore that or get a better sense of that over the next few weeks. But yeah, I think that was one, probably the most interesting thing that popped out. So this is something I might need to work on. The other one, just looking at all our results comparatively, and I think we'll show this in a bit, but
Okay.
yeah, that's and just looking at some of these, especially when uh, Gregory, when we were looking at ours compared to each other, I seemed to be much less fast at the heavier weights and had a much bigger gap like over you on the lighter weights. And then obviously it flipped trail arm, lead arm. Could it look like you maybe have a similar or I don't know, like a different kind of trend going on there. But that was the other thing. And I did feel much less comfortable or less like strong and in control with the heavier weights, felt much better about what I was doing with the lighter weights. So I think that rings true, kind of like eye test versus what the data's saying. Um, but yeah, those two things. And then just the fact that you can see it on here, like my stack speed was the best of the group, but my E speed and my driver speed was not. So that's the other piece that I'm very curious about. Does that mean that I just need to be better at converting some of the things that I can do with either the heavier or the lighter swing weights, or just when I'm swinging, going for speed to my driver when I'm actually out there gaming, or maybe there's some technical things to do, or just training myself to be able to do that and then take it to the driver. So hopefully that means there's something very tactical that I can go after and see some quicker gains from. But that's where my head was at after seeing some of the numbers and digesting them a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's it's great. Again, just staring at the screen and seeing not a single green number for me is like a pretty hard pill to swallow in a competition. That's why we're tracking improvement. But I want to echo what you said because I think it leads into what to expect next. So each of us, it recommended the foundation training. You can preview that in the app, and it looks like there's similar warm up, and then I think just 3 sets of different weights. And I don't really know what else to expect beyond that. I don't know how much of it is. There's tons of videos. They have this library in the app that you can go into and you can read. There's sort of 3 types. There's like a conceptual series of videos that explain how speed works, which I think is definitely one thing that I'm really interested in learning. There's then a feel section, and then there's a drill section. And I don't know if the app recommends those during the course of a session. I think that'd be really cool if I'm standing, because part of me is, am I just going to go to this afternoon or this evening or whenever I go over to the simulator and I'm going to like just swing the different weights? And is that going to make me faster? I don't know. Because I feel like some of the points you made, Chris, there's some gear effect going on, right? With you, I think, especially where the weights seem to have a big difference. And so does that matter for the next time you get fit for a driver? But then there's also the technique and the ground force and everything else that's generating speed. So I'm just excited to learn more about that stuff because frankly, I don't know. Like I don't have a path, and that's why you do stuff like this, is because you have experts who've done this many times successfully, and hopefully it rubs off. But I am excited to do the next session. I did my baseline on Monday, so it recommended 3 days off of rest. So now we're on to Thursday, and I'm going to do it tonight. And I'll obviously keep everyone updated on how that's gone, but I am excited for the next step. What about y'all? Like, how are you going into the next session? What are you thinking about it? Just walk me through what you think the next week or so is going to look like in your speed training.
I will say, Greg, I almost envy you having no green numbers, right? Because you have the highest potential in our competition, like for percentage improvement.
Maybe I sandbagged. You don't know. Maybe,
Yeah, I'm
maybe,
green numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
You are the leader in the
Um,
clubhouse, which heavy is the head that wears the crown for sure. I agree.
Yeah, I feel like the Dodgers coming in with that lead. Pressure's on me.
Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting because you swung in a simulator. Is that correct? Right?
In a
Like
simulator bay,
bay.
because that was really kind of the only place that I could do it. But I used the stack radar, not like the TrackMan that was in the simulator bay.
Right. So you were in the simulator bay, someplace you're used to swinging a golf club,
Mhm.
right? Chris was outside, right? And it looked like your backyard. Is that right,
Yeah,
Chris?
I was I wore there's like a mud hole where my left heel was now from all the swinging. What that says either, but might have to find a better spot, or I'm gonna have to move around so I don't like completely dig a ditch in my backyard. But yes, it's my backyard.
Got to distribute it. And I went to the gym, right? I was in a room, like a turf room, that people were doing other workouts around me. Some people were like loudly discussing the election. And I've never swung a golf club in this area before. I'm interested to see, maybe I'll go out to a park,
Mhm.
right? And do it outside for my next swings. But it's interesting. We all did our baselines in different areas. I think it's going to be really fun to see how this all progresses. It's going to be cool.
For sure. Yeah, I'm looking. There is definitely some, whatever the opposite of fool's gold is in your results. Having been sick, everything else, like to be very clear for the internet, you are a much faster swinger of the golf club than Chris and I. And so that could work out one or two ways. One is that's actually an advantage for you because this baseline is a lot lower than it would have been. And then you're going to, you know, 2 weeks from now, when you're fully recovered and everything else, you're going to be back to normal, and then you're going to improve on top of that. That's what I'm scared of. So we'll have to see.
What if it just looks like I'm swinging harder? Like
It's actually
I'm
a good
just
point. I've
really
never seen
just
your
I
numbers.
have bad form, but like you
Yeah.
look at the pros and it looks like they're swinging so smooth and easy, and they're obviously way faster than these numbers. What if I just have like a really inefficient swing and I'm just muscling
You've been
through it? It doesn't
exposed.
just look. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you carry the ball further than I do, so I think that part makes sense. But maybe I'm just a really bad striker of the golf ball. So this is why we look at data, and yeah. So Chris, what about you? You mentioned you're excited. What are you thinking about these next steps?
Yeah, mostly just excited, ready to get going and see what the actual program looks like. Hopefully see some progress over time and really get into it. That's what I'm most excited about. Interested. I'm toying with the idea of, should I be focusing on my lead arm more? Do I need to do some of these other type of programs or whatever? But we'll keep it simple just at the start. But yeah, really mostly interested and excited to see how the numbers progress across the different weights, because some of these gaps close and hopefully get some golf in here as the weather's getting colder, and see if some of this translates on course immediately or not. So yeah, just interested to see how it all goes.
Great. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening and letting us walk you through our experience. Hopefully this helps. Big tidbits like don't forget your driver because you can do a driver swing in the baseline session. Also, just making sure you're in the right spot to be able to do this so you can avoid swing state conversations about the election in your backswing. There's a whole number of things that hopefully this was helpful and you learned a little bit. And whenever you try something like this, you just have so many questions and so many feelings. And so our hope here is to walk you through our process so that when you do it, you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more prepared because look, everybody wants more speed. We talked about that in the last video. And hopefully by using something like this and knowing more about it when you go in, it will help you just get a little bit better. Cooper, do you want to take us out here? Any other updates, reminders you have for the listeners?
Yeah. Awesome. First of all, we're doing this for you. If you have any feedback for
Mhm.
us, questions, ideas, anything else, if you use the stack or other speed training, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to come on the show, talk about your experience as well, we'd love to have you. So subscribe, share this with your friends. We really appreciate it. We're just getting started. And you, if you're watching it, you've made it this far, we need your support. So go ahead and share that. Can't wait to hear from you guys on this podcast and the direction we continue to take it. But if you're just listening in for the first time, you've stumbled upon this, head to links.golf to learn more. There you can find out everything that we do, ways to get involved. You can follow us on social media at LinksDAO on X, at Links Golf Official on Instagram, and hop into our discord.gg/LinksDAO. Big community of golfers all discussing ways to get better, courses to play.
Roasting our
together.
swing speeds and lack of flexibility. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we have a swing analysis channel. If you want to just
Mhm.
come in, post a swing video, we've got some TPI certified folks, as well as some amateur swing analysts who will give you some feedback any time of day. So hop in the Discord, join up with Links. We'd love to have you. And again, if you're a member, you haven't hopped in, go to clubhouse.links.golf, fill out your profile, add your email address. There's so much good stuff happening, and you got to stay up to date.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you become a member, you already are a member, you get 10% off the Stack, anything on the Stack website. Your coupon is there in the member portal. You have this benefit section that includes, as Chris mentioned, 70 plus brands that you're going to get discounts or exclusive offers or early drops, all that kind of stuff. But the Stack benefit is already there for you and your account. You just go in, you copy, go over to the Stack website, make your order, you get 10% off. Cool. Thanks, y'all, for taking time out of your day to talk about this, and I'm excited to get faster. So we'll catch up again next week and see where we are after our first foundation session.
Enjoy your
See
golf.
y'all.
See y'all.